as stated, my name is Gregory Dale. I am the Southern Region Coordinator for the Innovation Center with USDA Rural Development, and just would like to welcome you to the workforce session. I appreciate everybody signing in today. This session will introduce programs and services that are aiding in building community resilience concerning Arkansas rural workforce, rehabilitation and reentry, and submit awareness that will assist in addressing COVID-19 challenges and disparities. We got a good group today, so I'm just going to go ahead and yeah, that real quick, that's a picture of me before COVID, now, so now you see the video of me, but I want to introduce our first speaker. The title of her presentation is going to be Innovation Hub and Rural Workforce. This is Linsley Kinkade, Senior Director for U.S. Programs, and Linsley is with Winrock International. Linsley, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Greg, and thank you all to USDA for having us here today and moving forward virtually. I'm really thankful for this. As I've mentioned, as we were kind of waiting, it's nice to see faces I don't see every day. It feels like I'm actually out in public, so it's very exciting. Instead of my guest room, which I have this fancy little background, so you don't see my guest bed. But thank you all for having us here today. For those of you who don't know, Winrock International is an international nonprofit based in Little Rock. We do work in about 40 countries around the world on community and economic development, clean energy and environment, and human resources, education, and empowerment. And most of that work is around anti-human trafficking across the globe. I am extremely lucky because I work in our U.S. Programs Unit, which is completely dedicated to work here in the United States, primarily in Arkansas. And that includes work we do in community and economic development, and then also the Innovation Hub. So we'll talk a little bit about both of those things. U.S. Programs is a team of about 11 people, all based in Little Rock, or Arkansas, I should say. We have staff actually down in El Dorado as well. And we really focus in on community and economic development as a whole portfolio. So we view that as everything that is in the ground and on the ground. So when it comes to community development, for example, we may be working with a small town. We work mostly in rural communities to address things from water and wastewater infrastructure to building an entrepreneurship ecosystem. Recently, we have really focused on, in a community development side, on completing and working with rural community leaders on full comprehensive community assessments. So people can really understand what they have, what they need, and then move from that assessment into asking people who live in the community, reaching out to residents and really finding out what people really want, and then trying to address those wants at the community level. In a time of COVID, one of the things we've really seen, especially in our rural communities, and this will come as no surprise to any of you, is that broadband is a huge problem for us. But we've spent a lot of time with rural community leaders kind of building capacity to do things like this so we can connect online. A lot of our work has always been one-on-one. Let's get out in the community. That's our preference. Let's be on the ground. But we needed to pivot and think about how can we reach and work with community leaders through technology. So we've done a ton of capacity building with local leaders on that front, including, really assessing what's happening with broadband so they can start to address it. As we see, schools come back in session, we're going to see large disparities for people who don't have access to broadband. How are they going to connect in an online learning environment? So we're trying to work with community leaders to begin to address those problems. Nobody expects to have those squared away by the time school starts. But if we don't start talking about them, we're not going to get to a place where they're squared away, right? So we want to kind of help address that. Additionally, we do a ton of work on building the entrepreneurship ecosystem, both at a state level, but also in rural communities on the ground. And we do that through three main things. We work with companies that are, really startup entrepreneurs at this point, who simply just have a concept. We think we have an idea. We think it'll work. We don't really know. Let's go find out if the solution we think is a good company really is. And so We do a lot of work on customer discovery and working with teams to determine if they have a product people want to buy, and if they want to buy it, at what price point, so they can start a good company. Then we also do a lot of work through a group called the Arkansas Women's Business Center, which is based in El Dorado, with what we call Main Street companies. You know, you don't have a vibrant community if you don't have a laundromat and a daycare and a restaurant. We need those active businesses in our communities. And so through that work, companies get access to one-on-one technical assistance and counseling to get their business off the ground, maybe pivot. One of the kind of things we've seen for COVID is we may have companies or small businesses that, are really reliant on, boutique sales on Main Street. Well, let's spend some time training and counseling on how to maybe move that to an online marketplace so their business can continue to thrive while people aren't coming into brick and mortar stores. And then lastly, we do a lot of work with high-tech companies through a project called Innovate Arkansas, which is all startup high-tech entrepreneurs. And what we've seen them do is a pivot around how they are supporting the value chain. So we've seen a lot of companies in telehealth who are coming out and saying we need to address, and we have a solution to telehealth problems, particularly in rural communities. And so we work with them on, business plans, financials, access to capital, and that kind of thing. One thing we've learned through COVID, which I know we want to focus on, is, there have been a lot of opportunities from the federal government, particularly out of the Small Business Administration. But not all small businesses have had access to them or know how to complete the necessary forms or know how to comply with regulations once they've been, maybe awarded a payroll protection program loan. So we have pivoted some of our work directly to supporting those entrepreneurs in applying for those funds, getting the right information together so they're competitive for them, so that our small businesses aren't left out of those opportunities. And then when it comes to the Arkansas Regional Innovation Hub, which is part of Winrock International, located over in North Little Rock, initially, it's a maker space and a co-working space and a place where kids come to learn to code. Well, kids aren't coming in the Arkansas Regional Innovation Hub during COVID to learn to code. So they have really pivoted their whole offering into producing personal protective equipment out of the hub for, and then dispersing it out to communities across the state. So, they've done a lot of cloth face masks and other things that have been distributed throughout the city of Little Rock and the city of North Little Rock and Clark County. And then they're also looking at how they can take their mobile makerspace, which originally was to come out and bring things like 3D printing out into rural communities. How can they pivot that into becoming a mobile internet hotspot? So we're able to get high-speed internet out in communities that don't have it. So, we're seeing a lot of just kind of taking programs that we know work and figuring out how they need to work in an age of COVID-19. It's been a challenge, but honestly, I also think it's a lot of fun because, you're really connecting with people on the ground and their needs. And how this kind of pulls into rural workforce is, if you don't have a successful and good community, it's hard to attract people. So, your workforce is harder to keep and attract. So we think our community development work is critical to a rural workforce. And then of course, our small businesses employ a lot of the workforce in small towns. So to focus in on entrepreneurship, we believe builds up the opportunity for a rural workforce in the place where they live. And I know we've got a lot, so I will stop. I'll either answer questions now or Greg later or whatever y'all would like to do. I'm here for the hour.
I think for the sake of time, we'll keep moving because I did know some things, but just to kind of hit on some points that I caught, anybody on listening, they vet business ideas, offer one-on-one technical assistance. You may know of a small business that need that resource. So definitely let them know about Winrock International. On the news last night, they actually talked about the Regional Innovation Hub and how they're doing that personal protective equipment. That was actually on the news. Steve Mosier, I texted you about that last night.
That's right. Thank you. I'd completely forgotten. It sure was on the news yesterday.
It was on the news yesterday. So like they're doing good work. So good job. You got done before my timer. Good job. Catherine, because my screen is being shared, I won't be able to monitor the questions. So if you see something, you can just jump in if that's okay. So
awesome. We don't have any right at this second, but feel free to type that into your chat, and I'll read those out when they come in.
Also,
absolutely.
Greg, if I may, my email address is here, as is my cell phone. Please, if you've got a question, feel free to just call me directly too. Happy to do that.
Please, I'll give you 20 seconds to document that email address, lkinkade@winrock.org. And she got a phone number there. So thank you, Linsley. Appreciate that presentation. You do a lot of good work. You mentioned some things I didn't know that you were involved in. So like I said, so thankful for that. So now we're gonna go ahead and move forward with our next presenter. District Judge Chuck Baker, like I said, thank you for being on, and Debbie Faubus. They're going to be talking about alternative sentencing. Alternative sentencing. I look forward to this presentation. Steve Mosier told me a lot about it, so the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all having us. I hope everybody's having a good afternoon. My name is Chuck Baker. Despite what it says on the screen, I am not Charlotte Douglas. She is aware I have commandeered her computer, so it's all above board. But, and also because we're in Arkansas, it may appear that Debbie and I are within 6 feet, but you know in your rearview mirror where it says objects may be closer than they appear, well, here it's objects may be farther than they appear. So she's actually 6 feet 1 inch away from me right now. I want to talk to you for just a second about the impact that courts have on people's employment opportunities and their ability to retain employment, and how we've been able to work through some of those problems here in Crawford County. The first thing that I want to say to you is that if you're dealing with people who are going back to school, who are in the workforce, or trying to get into the workforce, a lot of those people are going to have some court issues that you may not even be aware of. And it's very important that you address any of those court problems on the front end rather than waiting until they've been arrested, incarcerated, or something's happened that you can't fix at that point. So the first thing that I need to say to you is that if you don't have a personal relationship with the judges in your county, you need to develop one. And you can start that by simply calling their office, telling them who you are, telling them that you just want to visit with them about what you can do to help the court, help these people who are coming in front of the judges. Debbie and I think, have a great working relationship. She calls me regularly about people that are in her programs that have court issues, and we try to accommodate those people so that we don't interrupt their education or have them taken off of a job by being arrested, which then costs them their job. And then here in Arkansas, as many of you know, and Charlotte Douglas is going to speak to you here in just a second about this, we've got a wonderful program that's assisting people coming out of our jail system in finding employment and getting counseling and educational opportunities and those kinds of things for them. So you got to have a personal relationship with the judge. You got to have a judge that you can pick up the phone and call and get a call back pretty promptly, because some of these problems truthfully can't wait. They need to be handled as soon as you discover that there is an issue. What we've done here is that when I became judge, we had the traditional model of putting people in jail, ordering people to pay fines, and occasionally ordering people to mow the grass, do some kind of community service because they couldn't pay fines or there wasn't room at the jail. Well, what we've incorporated is a program where instead of just doing those things, and all of those things are still on the table here, but one of the things we do most successfully is that instead of limiting them to those three options, we give them the opportunity to go back to school, either to complete a GED. We actually have a program where they can enroll and take some college classes. And then we have lots of skill and trade training for people who might not feel like college is the right path for them, and they're looking for a job either in the medical fields, in the trade fields, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, those kinds of things. And so what our court has done is that we actually sentence those people to go complete those educational opportunities. That satisfies whatever jail time or fines, probation, or community service we might have imposed otherwise. It benefits the person by giving them the skills necessary to be successful in life, hopefully to the point that as a judge, I never see them again. It benefits the community in that they're becoming productive, paying taxes, and becoming good citizens. And it benefits the court in that she has taken so many people off of my dockets that I don't have to spend court time dealing with those people. We don't have to spend court resources spending money on dealing with those people. We don't have to pay for their incarceration. It has been truthfully a win-win situation all the way around. So she is going to speak to you now about what they're doing here locally. She can answer any questions that you have, but I do encourage you to make that contact with the judges in your jurisdiction. A lot of them don't know about these programs, but I promise you, if they'll spend 5 minutes on the phone with Debbie, they will be sold. They'll want to join in, and it can be a benefit to everybody in your community. I appreciate y'all asking me to speak with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And I thank you for having me today also, and for us being here. I get really excited about this program. We've been into this program about 3 years now, and we figured in the first 2 years, we probably saved the county an average of $1 million in 2 years. That is, for the cost of an inmate, it's $55. So we just kind of did our own average. But as the judge said, there are so many residuals. One other thing I want to mention that we've seen is that not only the economics of it all, but also you can't see some of what it does. These people are able to stay in their homes. They're able to be a mother and a father, which is where they need to be instead of in jail. They need to be with their kids. What more could you want for a family? The things that I'm going to tell you, the things that I've learned over the past few years. Number one, you have to give people choices. When I first started this, people were telling me, they said, oh yeah, we do this alternative sentencing program. Everybody gets GEDs. No, that does not work. A GED, number one, can take longer than 40 hours. Many times when they come in and get a certificate, one of them we offer, which happens to be, one of them is a career readiness certificate. We also offer OSHA 10 training. We have construction they can get into, which we will start again in September. COVID's kind of put a damper on a few things. And any of the other kind of workforce classes that we can help them with is what we do. You give them choices. They may get a certificate or a CRC before they ever get a GED, because these people, many of them, have never been successful at anything. So once they get a certificate, and that certificate means the world to some of them, they've never had a certificate. I mean, can you imagine in your life never getting a certificate for anything? I'm looking at adults sometimes that is 30 and 40 years old, and they're telling me, this is the first thing I've ever had that I've accomplished. Well, many times after they get that, they'll turn around and come back and get their GED, because now they know they can be successful. So it's really important when they're in here that we find some way for them to be successful. And I can sit here and tell you, we also have TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families. We have SNAP. As the judge mentioned, they can take college classes here. We have a person here that can work with them on financial aid. We have a parents as teachers program. We refer them for jobs. And like he said, getting to know your judges is important, but also your business and industry. Find out the people that are hiring. Find out what they need. And that's what we do. And our trainings, that's how we put together our trainings. I don't want to train somebody for something they're not going to walk out the door and be able to possibly get a job. So it's work. You have to stay on top of your business and industry in your area. Communication with that judge, those choices, and that business and industry. If I can tell you the 3 things that are important that we've learned, that's it. Also, as you all know, in our population, if we deal with these alternative sentencing people, if they come with one problem, they have 3 problems. So you got to back up and find out, where's the root of it? Are they eating? If they don't have food, you're gonna have to find a way to get food. If they don't have housing, they're not gonna want to go to school if they don't have a house. So we start from the beginning. I have a life coach that works with them, and we try to give them as much support as we can, because many times we're their only support. When we have night classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have churches, 12 churches that rotate and come in and feed on Tuesday and Thursday evening and fellowship with these people. Don't know what that's going to look like in COVID, but we're going to try it because it's important. It's the whole person. It's just like, I'm so moved that you all had prayer when we started this. If we can't give them a spiritual life, we're not doing what we need to be doing. We need to do the whole person. We have people that come in that might not have a house, don't have a car. They may be wearing the same clothes all week, but you watch them with these people from the churches that accept them for who they are. That's so powerful, so powerful. I can't tell you how much that means. If I get frustrated, that's what I do. I walk in there and I watch them all working together, and you know you're doing the right thing. That's all I got to say. So I just tell you, this has worked for us. And like the judge said, if I can help you in any of your communities, please call me. I've got PowerPoints. I'd talk to anybody on the phone. Every community looks different. Like in Fort Smith, our neighbor over here. Well, they run about 3 times as many people through the court as we do. So theirs it's going to look different. Every community looks different. Whatever you have in your community, your business and industry is going to be different. So, but I would be glad to sit down and help anybody any way I can, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got the forms. I can show you what we give them, what we've worked through, what's worked and hadn't worked. And like I say, any of my people would. If you want to come visit our court, I've had people from all over the state come and visit the judge's court, and he will talk to them and tell them what he does. I call it his judge's perspective. I give the academic, he gives the judgy perspective. So they're 2 different ones, 2 different looks. But we're glad to help anybody. It has been so powerful. We also have a program in the jail. I'll tell you a story. I love stories. We had one guy, he got his CRC in jail. He was a trustee. He was a felon. I mean, an abusive felon. He was in for some real bad charges. He is now working here at Pepper Source. He's gotten 3 raises since he's been there, and they love him. He decided to change his life. And that's the kind of stuff we want to do, is show people there's a better way. You can show them, hope they take it, as you all know. If they don't, we have them that keep coming back. They may get arrested the first time if the judge lets them come. But many of them, once you plant that seed, when they get out of jail, they'll call and say, can we come back? We didn't make it in that program, but can we just come back and finish? Absolutely. That's what we're all about. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I'll take any questions from anybody.
And I'll just like to comment, thank both of you for the presentation. And I have to say, what you presented is basically you're transforming people's lives. People that are getting in trouble and this and that, like I said, sitting in jail, you're offering an opportunity. And you just gave a success story, Ms. Debbie, on how your lives are being transformed. So this is really wonderful. Regard to having those relationships with county judges, spot on. Like I said, those county judges know about various resources and things that they can do. I did think of a project that USDA Rural Development was involved in. Like I said, hopefully USDA listening to this. He's not a senator now, but Crumlin, I can't think of his first name. He actually did a school in East Arkansas. Well, basically, he has a relationship with the judges, and kids that are perhaps, getting in trouble or whatnot. He has an alternative school where he's working, where they can get an education and get technical assistance. So I'm not sure if y'all are connected or not, but obviously that's just transformative work. Providing an opportunity for folks that you don't know their background. Ms. Debbie, you mentioned it, you don't know their background. Maybe they're not eating. You don't know what type of issues they have. So this is really wonderful. Are there any questions? Like I said, we're doing real good on time right now.
just want to add that another thing, a positive thing, and something you're going to probably run into if you do this is driver's license. If they owe fines, many times they don't get their driver's license. There's a program also that we have, and Charlotte's going to address 100 families here in a second, but we have a gentleman that will run backgrounds and try to get temporary assistance for their driver's license. That is a major thing in our area, is getting them to work. I mean, if I can get them a job, but how are you going to get there? I mean, because a lot of our people are in rural communities, so they don't have a way to get there. So that's another, you know, that's another hiccup in it. So anyway, we're always trying stuff. We're going to do some distance learning stuff in the jails, and always looking for new things. And I'm telling you, Judge Baker, he walked out, but he is phenomenal, and he's right. We have been there since the beginning, and you got to have a judge that buys into it like he does, because he is all about it, and he wants to help our people in our community. In fact, we had a little bit of a hiccup with some of the city people because they couldn't use all of the people for community service, so they had to really work. Sorry, I said that. I hope none of you are married to anybody that works for the city, but they had to really go out and work. So they tried to give him a little bit of pushback, and he told them, he said, it's not my job to supply you with workers, because see, they weren't doing community service. They were getting educated. So, you know, you may have a few people that won't follow you on this. Okay. And so you need to have somebody that really stands behind you.
Right, right. And I would add this, particularly for USDA Rural Development, you know, keep us in mind as a partner as well, because public bodies and nonprofits that are providing these educational opportunities, you know, we have funded that potentially that those nonprofit and public bodies.
And Gregory, I am looking at some of those. That's how I got to know Steve. He and I have been on the phone a lot together too. And I appreciate you throwing that out there. Thank you.
All right, all right. Are there any other comments, questions, anything in the chat box right now?
No, we just had some encouraging words from Charity praising the work that you guys are doing. And I also wanted to point out that Linsley was kind enough to put her URL into the chat box for her organization. So if you need to go grab that, please do.
All right, all right. Well, thanks, Judge, Miss Debbie. Appreciate your presentation. Thanks a lot. And we got some more good speakers coming now. Our next speaker is Miss Charlotte Douglas. She's going to be talking about rehabilitation resilience for 100 families. And I think the entity is Restored Hope, and Miss Douglas is the Crawford County Cases Overseer and a former state rep. So, Ms. Douglas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for having us. And as you saw here, we were a partner on this panel, and Adult Ed and our judges in Crawford County are strong partners with this holistic approach that we have. Just a little bit of background. In 2013, in the legislature, the pendulum swung way over across to stronger laws to incarcerate. We had an event that happened in Arkansas that brought this about. As our jails and our prisons filled up at great cost, we also saw a rise in foster care. And in Sebastian County, we hit every red button, every scale that you can possibly have. We were the highest incarcerated. We were the highest that were being sent to prisons. We were highest recidivism. We were highest in opioid use. I can just go down the list. Sebastian County, for some reason, was a perfect bad storm. So the governor saw this and saw that he had to intervene, and he began the initiative Restore Hope. And that was a private-public partnership, faith-based as well. And he began the pilot, one of the pilots in Sebastian County where I was involved. The innovations that sprang from a community uniting around a problem became known as 100 families. And through 100 families, we decided as a community that we were going to target restoring families, because we know that when people are in prison, or when their children are in foster care, or if they're drug abusers, or if they have behavioral problems, the family is in crisis, and that leads to all these other problems. So we created a system where we could enroll families that are in crisis. And when we would onboard them, we have a technology platform that is holistic, and we have all of our providers that are connected through our platform. So when we onboard a family that is in crisis, we go through a 15-point at least checklist, and we talk to them in depth. We develop a relationship with them. We find out, what are your transportation needs? Are you borrowing a car? Do you have a car? Do you have a car but it doesn't have, does it have a flat tire? What are your food needs? Would you go to work if you had childcare? Would that help? What are your educational needs? What would you do if we could find that opportunity? What is your court involvement? Do you have a driver's license? Do you know where all of your documents are, like your birth certificates? So we go down a 15-point assessment, and at the end of that 30 or 40-minute conversation that we had with that family, we develop a plan, and we develop a care team through this technology platform that begins to troubleshoot all of the points that we found that they were in crisis. And the case manager is the glue that calls them, and you can decide as a case manager, do I need to call them daily and see what they're doing, or do I need to call them weekly or every couple of days? And then when they're on maintenance, of course, we could stretch that out to monthly. But that contact and being able to look inside the technology platform and see, did they go to counseling? And if they didn't, then they get a call, and we find out what that was. Was it transportation, or did something happen? And then, like Debbie said, when a family is enrolled in 100 families, one of the perks of our organization is that they get a court resolution team to look into their fines. And we can look all over the United States, and we can tell what courts they've been involved in, where their fines are, how much time they owe, do they have, arrest warrants out. And then our court resolution team begins to call the judges. We have pro bono lawyers that can help with this as well. And we call the court clerks, and we start brokering down their fines, brokering down their time served, and we try to find the money for them to get to those courts. We just had a young lady that owed $600 in a court in Nebraska, and we put together money for a hotel, for a bus ticket, for food, and we got her up there. She went to court. She was able to pay her fine, and the judge was very complimentary of the organization that we had put together to get her there. And now she came back to Arkansas free and clear, and because of that, her children were not taken from her. So we reunited that family, and they didn't have to go into foster care or the rights be terminated. So that's what we do in a nutshell. We partner with Debbie, and we take referrals from the alternative sentencing. So when they come through Judge Baker's court and Debbie gets them, then we help pay for a case manager within adult ed that's going to do that holistic case manager and find them the housing, find them the food, get them a job, and have that contact with them as much as we can, and work the court resolution side of it, try to get their driver's license back. So it looked like you were wanting to know, what are some of the things that we did to help with the resilience of our families during COVID? And we knew that this was going to be a tough time on our families that were struggling already. So we began the first week of COVID, and we sent out a survey to all of our families and said, you know, what is it that you can see that's going to be a barrier to you surviving during this pandemic? And we took those results, and then we began working. From the survey, we could tell if a family was having food needs, or if their job had been terminated. So we helped them with the unemployment papers and how do you file for unemployment. We delivered food. Some of them don't have transportation and they live in food deserts, and we had to get food to them. So we had nonprofits in the area that would deliver food when they needed it. We also, one of the things that the families were telling us is that these kids are home all day. I'm not used to that. I don't know how to do their lessons with them. They're not busy. So local churches put together activity bags for them, and we delivered those. So especially some of the younger kids would have something to do during the day. And then older kids too. We put things in there that would interest them, and also things that would get them outside in the yard, things to play with. We did that a couple of different times, and then of course the food was an ongoing occurrence that we had to do. We also, when we talked to them, we realized that some of them were experiencing some violence in the home because they weren't used to all being together in one place. So we gave hotlines out, or we helped them get to a safe place. And we had a safe platform to communicate with them where other people could not see their answers if they felt like they needed secrecy. The kids' activities were, also paired one day with free pizza. So if the families could get to the pizza place, we handed out free pizzas, compliments of Domino's. And then the ones that couldn't make it, we delivered those and delivered the activity packets. The CASA has helped with us. We have strong partners in our food banks. We just have volunteers that help us as well. And what we saw, because we had this communication with them and we surveyed them to figure out what their needs were and started meeting those needs very early on, we found that as we collected the data in June after a 3-month, COVID experience, that hardly any of our data points dipped except for employment. And we had a slight dip in employment. It could be explained in a lot of different ways. One is that some families were making more by staying home than they were by going to work. So they chose unemployment sometimes. But also some jobs were, just, deleted. So we feel real good that the things that we did, and I haven't been able to mention them all, but they shored up this population that was at risk during this COVID experience. And it was a community effort, a group effort, and 100 families is expanded to 4 other counties.
One minute, Ms. Charlotte.
And yes, thank you. It has expanded to other counties in Arkansas, and we are reproducing what we're doing here. So Restore Hope, the governor's initiative, has been very successful, and we would be glad to, spread that to other states and other places if you need guidance. We've developed the systems that can be repeated. So thank you very much for having me, and I'd be glad to take questions.
Well, we definitely appreciate that presentation. Wonderful work. You got a lot of partners in place. I guess I have a question, and if I missed it during the presentation, I'm sorry. Does this organization, this function, does it just cover Sebastian County, or is it regional, or is it statewide?
Well, we started in Sebastian, and now we've expanded into Crawford and White and Pulaski.
Okay.
And we have Jefferson County is on the queue. Saline, Hot Springs County, Garland County is in the queue. Some of the places in Northwest Arkansas are in the queue. So as we develop the data and it's successful, then we can ask for more money to expand. And a community could do this on their own. It could be a community effort without the TANF funding.
This is a great presentation. Hopefully a lot of communities duplicate what you're doing. Great work. Really appreciate this presentation. Our next topic is going to be Southern Region Rural Workforce Summit. Our speaker is Mr. James Hopper. He's the Director of Programs for Winthrop Rockefeller Institute. So Mr. Hopper, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Greg. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out, everybody, and taking a little bit of time to listen to us. And it's nice to see some friendly faces here. I've only been working at the Institute for about 6 months now, so I am still trying to figure out where everything is and why I'm not actually working up at the Institute right now, why we're all at home. I haven't quite figured it out, but that's one of the reasons we're all here, right? And joining virtually instead of being in person. You know, the mission of the Institute is to continue the legacy of Governor Rockefeller to create transformational change. And we normally do that by bringing diverse groups together up at the mountain and, you know, assist them as they work together. Currently, we are bringing some groups up to the mountain, but smaller in number and practicing social distancing and all of that kind of stuff. What we do on the programs team is that we provide expert meeting design and facilitation services. So we'll work with groups as small as 5 or 10, you know, doing some strategic planning, that type of thing, all the way up to groups of 200 on a wide range of topics, everything from corrections reform to rural health and workforce development to what we're talking about today, which is the Southern Region Summit. So we provide conference services, convenings, which work closely with the programs team, and then just trainings as well. And we'll take those anywhere you'd like. We do it on a wide variety of topics, but mostly it centers around helping people engage in dialogue and have conversations that may be difficult, but come together to form some consensus. Last year, about 100 attendees from across the 12-state Southern region. And when you're visualizing what 12 states, think of Texas on the left, all the way to Florida, and everywhere south of the Mason-Dixon line. So it's a wide variety of areas, but from all 12 states in the Southern region, coming together as rural workforce champions to discuss opportunities, share stories of success, you know, connect with peers, and learn new information to take home to their communities. We consider each person that, you know, attends this summit to be a partner because it's a participatory conference. You don't get to just come and sit and listen to panels, although you get a little bit of that, but we also ask you all to participate. We bring in some of that facilitation stuff that I was talking about earlier, and we get each person to participate. So we'll also have some facilitated sessions in addition to the panels and everything else. That being said, even though everybody's a partner and we love everyone there, there's 2 people that I'd like to give a little bit of special recognition to that were integral in the planning and are still with us and are helping us plan the upcoming conference. That's Jessica Rollman, who's the Director of Workforce Development and Community Education at UACC Morrilton. And then Steve Mosier, who is either on this call or probably trying to call and work somebody else's problems out technically as we speak right now, from the USDA Rural Development Innovation Center. If you don't know Steve, you should. He's great to know, and he knows everybody else. So highly recommend that. But the conference last year took place half of the time up at the Institute, which is on top of Petit Jean, right outside of Morrilton. And then the other half of the time down at UACC Morrilton itself. We're planning on doing the exact same thing this year. We have plans to be able to provide a socially distant conference for up to 200 people this year between those 2 large locations. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to do it in person, but if not, we're also planning for a virtual edition as well. Last year, you know, we had a wide variety of topics, everything from recruitment and retention of employees, private sector and public sector collaboration to attract employers, apprenticeships, job placement programs, technical education. We even brought students in and had a student panel. So we had a wide range of topics. This year's theme is, I think, pertinent and a combination of the top 2 themes that we had when we started brainstorming. And that is innovation in time of change. It's going to take place November 4th through 6th at the Institute and UACC Morrilton. We're currently planning a hybrid physical and virtual option, but like I said before, we may need to go completely virtual if COVID-19 continues to progress. But on the bright side, that means that regardless of where you might be from in that 12-state region, we're going to have a way for you to participate, even if it is only virtual. The purpose of this convening is really to gather all of our rural partners together to identify and share innovative practices, opportunities and resources that they can use to address changes in workforce dynamics, and to get to know each other. You know, the 2020 Summit creates space for all sorts of different people, from educators, business representatives, legislators, healthcare workers, and, you know, all sorts of public servants from across the United States to come together and work with each other. Attendees are going to have the opportunity to meet potential collaborators and identify actions that they can take in their own work and in their own communities to improve their local economies. So the idea is you come, you learn, you generate a network, then you go home and you take all those lessons learned and start implementing them on your own. I would love to invite each one of you to join and to attend. If you are interested in coming physically and participating, registration costs are probably going to be about $399, and that will include 2 nights lodging. If we end up going virtual only, or if you're wanting to attend virtually because of travel concerns or just because it would make it a lot easier in your life and schedule to be able to attend virtually, we'd encourage that. And the price we're looking at right now for that is about $100 for the entire conference. So we've tried to make it affordable, and that's not set in stone yet, but looking at the budget right now, that's about what it's going to be. The links on the PowerPoint slide that you see right there are not entirely clickable, no matter how hard you may click on your screen. So I'll put those in chat for everybody. My email's there as well, so feel free to shoot me an email with additional questions. We would love to invite everybody out to join in and continue this conversation. I don't think I took quite all of my time, but I figure, Greg, you're probably okay with that. If there are any questions or anything, happy to answer those. I'll also stick around and be in chat so I can answer them via chat if anybody would like.
Like something you said, and absolutely right. Like I said, definitely I went to the conference, the summit last year. Top-notch event, a lot of good information. You know, connect with partners. Like I said, you know, so it is really a good place to share best practices. So, like I said, you can learn a lot, take it back to your communities. And I tell you, it's definitely not a bad place to be. It's a beautiful place, and you're going to learn a lot. So thank you for that presentation, telling us that. Really appreciate you. So our last speaker, like I said, the Federal Reserve Bank Response Efforts and Resources, the title of the presentation is Ms. Samantha Evans. And Ms. Evans is with the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank and is their Community Development Advisor. Glad you're on today, Ms. Evans. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Gregory, so much for being able to moderate this session. And thank you, USDA, for the invitation to share some of the resources and information we have available at the Federal Reserve, and for this being able to pivot for us to have this virtually. I'd also like to take a moment to really thank Belinda for her leadership in putting this together and seeing this forth from the beginning. I was being able to be there when we hosted it in person in Pine Bluff, which seems so long ago. And so I'm really happy to be here. Real quickly, I just want to share just a few resources with you all today. Are we able to advance the slides that I provided? Just kind of want to be able to go through those really quickly with everyone and being able to refer back to them here.
I'll advance, just let me know when you're ready.
Perfect. All right, thanks. You can go to the next one. Before I begin, I'd like to share just a disclaimer that to note, if you've ever been into a presentation with any Federal Reserve staff, then you recognize this and let you know that the comments are my own and do not represent the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, nor the Federal Reserve System. Okay, you can move to the next one. So what is the Federal Reserve? What do we do? How are we involved in workforce development? And what is the Federal Reserve? So if you're not familiar already with the Federal Reserve, we are the central bank of the United States. We have responsibilities for monetary policy, which you can think about that as maintaining maximum employment here in the US, and ensuring that individuals are both prepared to enter the workforce and are able to increase their education and skills across their careers, which is critical, especially during times like this. And through our community development function, we advance workforce development efforts through both dialogue, research, sharing information like we're doing here today, and identifying trends and best practices that encourage local policy resources to unemployment, as well as those that may be underemployment. We are also responsible for the supervision and regulation of banks and maintaining the nation's payment system. So if you see right there in the middle of the country there, you'll see, notice in green, the 8, where we represent over 7 states. Arkansas is one of the only states in which we represent the state in its entirety, and I'm actually headquartered in Little Rock. All right, you can go to the next one. So today I'll just share just 3 resources that could potentially be pertinent to your work. And I'll begin with our nationwide survey that we've recently begun to do. And that's Perspectives from Main Street, the Impact of COVID-19 on Communities and the Entities Serving Them. So this is a pulse survey that we put out into the field back in April, whenever COVID-19 was really taking effect, so we can be able to learn what is happening on the ground. So while we know anecdotally, we can make some assumptions, we wanted to be able to have a survey that could kind of back up what it was that we were hearing from folks. And so we went out and put the survey together which represents nonprofit organizations, financial institutions, government agencies, and other community organizations to really understand what's happening nationwide, but then also most importantly, what's happening in those lower income communities and the entities serving them. And so some of the key takeaways there from the recent June report were that 60% have indicated that COVID-19 caused significant disruptions on the economic conditions of their communities, and expect the recovery to be difficult. So there's no surprise there. However, now we kind of have it there from this survey of folks, as well as 42% cited income loss, job loss, and unemployment. So it really lines up with what Charlotte Douglas had said earlier about what she was seeing happening in some of the communities she was serving, that this is also something that is happening nationwide, where income loss, job loss, and unemployment is the top impacts of COVID-19 on the communities that they serve. And so there's a link there if you want to go back to, if you're needing to go back and you can see more details from that survey. Okay, the next one. So earlier this month, our community development team put together a list of resources from our bank as well as other organizations by topic area that can be able to assist you in the midst of the pandemic. And so here you can find this list on our website, along with our e-newsletter and other ways to be able to connect with us on there. And this is kind of looking at timely topics, because things seem to be really happening really fast in this pandemic. And we're finding ourselves not only facing, what's happening on the health side, but as well as the economic side, as well as around equity, issues around equity and racial justice. And so there's several various topics that we're finding ourselves facing a myriad of pandemics at the same time. And we do discuss that there, and you can kind of connect with us from our website there. Okay, next slide. And then finally, the last resource I will share with you today is includes the Fed's initiative, Investing in America's Workforce, which has an entire website and 3-book publication dedicated to assisting you and what you're having to go through with workforce so that you can be able to kind of create a workforce that is engaged and having a workforce that really includes everyone. So being able to create more of an inclusive economy as we're moving forward, as we're thinking about recovery, how do we create more of an inclusive economy? And so there's over 100 authors involved there of information that talks about investing in workers, investing in work, and investing in systems for employment opportunity, so that we can be able to kind of reframe and reimagine workforce development efforts as investments. I know a lot of times as we're going through this pandemic, we're hearing a lot about the negative impacts that are happening, but also the resources provided here can also be able to think about this as opportunities for you to reimagine and reframe workforce development efforts as investments instead of just social services, and how that can lead to scalable solutions and measurable outcomes. So I was really excited to hear from what's happening within the court systems and thinking about returning citizens and how we can think about those as not just social services, but actually thinking about those as investments. And when we take those investments back into the communities that we're serving, that the companies and the communities also reap those benefits as well. And so we're not thinking of this as a negative or a social service or a drain on the budgets. These are actually investments which the community, it's a return on investments, a return on a community as well. And so there's resources for us within that website for us to make those arguments, as well as how we think about opportunity occupations, about how we can be able to talk about what are the occupations there that are going to be sustainable after the recovery, because we know that some jobs will not be coming back. But what are the jobs that will be there for folks to be able to take advantage of that are going to pay a living wage? And then lastly, I just kind of want to wrap up and call for you to reach out to me or members of our team. And we would love to hear what is happening in your community and connect with you to the resources that fit your particular needs. So thank you.
All right. Well, appreciate that. Good information. One quick question, Samantha. I saw the map where your regions are, I think it's like a 7-state region, including Arkansas. Is there a contact through the Federal Reserve in each state, or are you the sole contact for the 7-state region?
On workforce development, I'm the sole contact for all 7 states, but we do have other staff within other focus areas in Memphis, St. Louis, and Louisville, Kentucky.
So for workforce, you are contact and you are conveniently located in Little Rock.
I am, yes,
All right.
that's correct.
All right. Well, hey, but I would like to thank all the speakers. This was some great information. This is a great panel. Hopefully everybody was taking notes. When I'm done, I'm gonna, if by chance you missed a contact name, phone number, email, I'm gonna put my name in an email address and phone number in the chat so you can reach out to me and I can connect the dots. But this is great. I appreciate you.